spoiled brat who refuses to take accountability. Anyone who supports Natalie Wynn does not support non-binary people.
Let's do a shot with me. Do you want to do a shot with me?
I do.
Let's do a shot.
Oh! Hi, Gorge. I need a fucking drink. Hits me right in the estrogen. How about now, Gorge? Oh, you don't notice anything different? That's right, I'm wearing a fucking jockstrap and a thong because I am gender fluid and want to feel sexy in every single way. And I do. I need a pop. Oh! There, is this better, you fucking animals? I need a pop. Hi, it's me, Barbie Wyre, and I'm here to discuss the recent video upload about ContraPoints, aka Natalie Wynn. Gorge. Okay, so the tea behind all of this. When I think about people who don't understand me and want to hurt me, and want to hurt my friends, and who are ignorant and bigoted and closed-minded and need to be deplatformed. I'm not talking about my redneck uncle on Facebook. I'm talking about people who have power and influence over the political and financial and economic capabilities of my livelihood. Natalie Wynn is not a politician. She is not your boss. She has no direct influence over your life. I understand the argument, and I empathize with the argument of how this is going to impact, like, the trans community and the LGBT community, and the way that we understand one another, and the way that we understand what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And that's why I'm making this video, because I think it's really important for us to understand that the reason I'm not talking about my redneck uncle posting shit on Facebook is because I think that most things in the world can be fixed with one or two conversations. And I also think that patience and providing the benefit of the doubt is one of the greatest gifts we can provide another human being. Because I know if I had not been provided patience, love, and understanding, I would definitely not be the person I am today. I don't think I'd be as loving to myself or others. I don't think I'd be as caring, and I don't think I'd be as empathetic. Basically, what I'm saying is that I'm a triple Virgo, okay? I'm a triple Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. So I can't help but A, want to fix things, and B, care a little too damn much, and sometimes be a little too damn patient. And sometimes that bites me in the ass. But most of the time, it provides me an opportunity to make some great friendships and to understand a person where they're really coming from. What brings me joy in life is not drama. Well, that's a fucking lie. I have to say, I did make a video about James Charles. It was a mess. That video was messy. I went to Kroger during it. But what brings me joy is not drama, is not other people's suffering, is not other people's guilt. I have noticed a trend, even in my hometown, even in my own circle of people who are early 20-somethings, late teens, who are queer, that we feel this need to tell one another about the wrongdoings of other queer young people. And I think I've been holding my poppers this whole time. And to a certain extent, I can understand why that's important and why that is necessary. I think it spawns out of a need to feel safe and a need to protect people you care about. I think that makes sense. And in a lot of situations, that's really loving and helpful and kind and appreciated. But that doesn't mean that that we need to turn into antagonists and we need to turn into a campaign and movements and a hive mind of anguish. You know? Whenever we have these dialogues that are complex and have a lot of moving parts and require a lot of listening to meet the other person where they're at. That's the only way that things can be fixed, in my opinion, and in my experience. That's the only way that's the reason I think that most things could be fixed with 1 or 2 conversations. Because whenever you approach conversations honestly and trying to understand another person and where they're coming from and why they have opinions that they have and why they've done things that they've done, that it really opens up a space for vulnerability, and it opens up room for growth and for connection. So all of this to say is that when my redneck uncle, I hate that I'm now officially making Natalie Wynn analogous to my redneck uncle on Facebook. My redneck uncle, he is not impacted the way that I'm impacted by hurtful opinions about trans people. Natalie Wynn is. Natalie Wynn is someone that I know that I've gone to in times of not in times of great need, I just thought she was funny. But she's had a lot more impact on me than I ever would have thought. I started hormones not because of her, partially because of her. Another, also because of this amazing YouTuber named, her name's Sarah, and she has this YouTube channel called Let's Talk About Stuff. And also Nyx Spheres. I love her, I love Nyx. And also this band Black Dresses, but whatever. And I still identify as non-binary. I identify as binary. I identify as non-binary. I identify as trans. I am fucking queer. Look, this is leopard print. This is not cheetah print or cougar print. This is leopard print. I love myself. Hi, how are you? We have these conversations, and we talk to one another, and we tweet, and we do all this stuff because we're trying to reach a conclusion within ourselves that we feel comfortable and justice and correct and moral about, right? And also makes us feel safe. And I think all those things combined help us understand ourselves and help us understand the way that we navigate the world as an entity, the way that we take up space, the way that we understand another person taking up space. And I see Natalie Wynn as a person who has these conversations and dictates them in a manner that I have yet to see in academia, in BreadTube, in all of it, right? And I've noticed that we have a really bad habit of, once a queer person reaches, a certain threshold of success and fame and notoriety, we have a habit of resenting them and detaching from them. And if I were to, ooh, and if I were to, oh my god. If I were to take a guess as to why we resent queer people who have achieved a certain threshold of notoriety, I would guess that it's because queerness has always been the underground, has always been the edge, has always been on the fringes, right? And, you know, there's something that is sexy and comforting about being a part of a group that is like the known unknown. I'm sort of referencing Jasper Puar now, who is a queer theorist. But anyway, there's this concept of the like being the known unknown, and it's that like people know about queer identity and queer culture. They can try to learn about it and understand it. And like any other marginalized identity, there is inherently something like there is inherently just life experiences that you won't have unless you're queer, right? And those have always been fringe and always been on the outskirts of culture. And so whenever we see that culture in the mainstream where we are not comfortable and where we are not, where like honestly the fringe kind of is our comfort zone, right? I think that's why queer people have always been in online spaces, because online spaces have like sort of evolved to encompass and be spaces for fringe cultures. And that's not always a good thing. I mean, fucking Nazis and 4chan and pedos or whatever. So I think that would be my guess as to why we grow resentment towards people who are queer and attain a certain level of success. And I think that's bad. I think that's really, really bad. The only person I know who really has escaped this is fucking Ellen DeGeneres, right? And it's because she's like the most non-threatening, most like loving and like lighthearted fucking person ever. My mom, I used to grow up watching Ellen DeGeneres with my mom, right? And that was always something that was the known unknown, you know? And Natalie Wynn is somewhere between the known unknown and the unknown unknown, because you only see so much of a person and their daily life from like a fucking YouTube video. And after watching that fucking hour and 40-minute long video she made, I couldn't help but internalize and empathize with this feeling of pain and anguish that she's going through. And I think that, like, there are things to critique and comment on about her, but I think she kind of covered it in part one, I feel. And I think in the future, it would be really beneficial to us to be more questioning rather than accusatory, and to provide patience for people. And that gets more and more complicated as situations get more and more complicated. But y'all, this is just a T-girl making videos about being trans and queer, you know? I don't want to take that away from someone. And also, a 10-second voice collab is not enough to make someone consider suicide as an option, or to consider self-harm, or to, I don't know, garner some sort of like self-hate. That seems cruel and unkind and not how I understand the LGBT and queer community to be. I understand the community to be a group and a culture that is loving and prideful of who we are and resilient, and that's where I found this space to begin to love myself and to learn how to love another person. And I'm not seeing that online, and I'm not seeing that in the way that we interact with and exchange ideas. You know, the way that we're exchanging ideas. I read this book called Dyke Ideas, written by a lesbian in like the 90s. I wish I could remember her name. I'll insert it here. Basically, she had this metaphor that I thought was so brilliant. The way, so it's from the 90s, and it's written by a lesbian during gender studies, like, you know, so it's limited, but hear me out. She was discussing the different ways that men, as like a class, approach discussion, and the various ways that like women, and I think specifically lesbians, or like women who are attracted to women, approach like discussing ideas. So men approach ideas like it's a flea market and every man like has his own stand, and it's like, come buy my idea. So no, subscribe to my idea. No, my idea is like the one you should take. Like, you know, come and get my idea. And you go and you get an idea, and like that's your idea. You know, like you are subscribed to that ideology. And the way that women approach discussion is more like potluck, where it's like, here, I brought this plate. This is my ideology, and this is my opinions. And you kind of, you know, get an empty plate, and you like put your stuff on it first, and it's like yours. Big around, and you maybe take a little bit of that, and maybe you take a little bit of this, and you take a little bit of this, and then your plate is uniquely your own, but also formed from the, you know, community, right? And I always thought that was so beautiful. Like, yes, that is like how artists become inspired. That is how we become people. Is by like garnering ideas from various places, right? And being influenced. And then coming to our own conclusions. And y'all are really approaching online discussion like men at a flea market. And that's scary. That's hurtful. I don't want to be associated in a with a group that is angry and exclusionary. Yeah. Okay. I guess that's my video. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment. You know, let me know what I should make next. I'm excited to hear your feedback. I know that this video has like a lot of room for growth and a lot of room for just like everything, but I just really felt the need to get this out as soon as possible. So thank you so much. I hope you have a great day, and I love you. Have a happy new year. Bye bye.